Hello, all YouTubers. I am the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for tuning back into this presentation for April 19th, 2020. As always, please don't forget to subscribe and check out my website link in the description below. Today, we're going to be doing live coverage of the tornado threat in the southeast. Very serious discussion today, so we're going to get right to it here with the live coverage. So, starting off here, before we get to the actual live coverage, here's the Storm Prediction Center. Okay, enhanced to moderate. This is the region that you really need to watch at orange and that red shading, including Houston, Montgomery, New Orleans, Columbus, Georgia, Jackson, Mississippi, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Macon, Georgia, Albany, Georgia, Tallahassee, and Mobile, Alabama. All places that you really need to watch for some damaging winds, hail, heavy rain, and tornadoes. It's just a few threats here, and significant severe in that hatched region, meaning with all the lines here. Again, that anywhere in that yellow and red shading for the tornado threat. That's where tornado threat's going to be the highest. Here's the wind risk. Okay, the wind risk will be more towards the east, Alabama and Georgia, but Mississippi and Louisiana can still get just as bad of a wind threat here. Hail. Okay, hail is another hatched area back here towards the west, and that's another area we can see damaging hail as well. And day two, tied to the same event, that yellow and orange shading in the Carolinas now in eastern Georgia, another region we need to watch out there for tomorrow. Okay, and excessive rainfall, again, yellow and red shading right here, slight to moderate from eastern Texas to South Carolina for today, but there will be no threat area for tomorrow for excessive rainfall as of now. This is a mesoscale discussion, so sometimes the Storm Prediction Center, Weather Prediction Center will put out these mesoscale discussions, and anywhere in that little red, it kind of looks like a cloud. You can see heavy showers and storms increasing in coverage through the afternoon. It can lead to some flash flooding. There are areas, okay, so in this black area, northern Mississippi, western Alabama, we've had over 1.5 inches plus of rain over the past 24 hours. Okay, so that means that like we're subject to a lot more flooding. And here's your warm front here. So here's your moisture running up on that warm front on the back side. And you got your perfect jet dynamics. You got your jet coming across here and really helping bring that wind damage, so to speak. All right, so we're going to go through the high resolution model here and also the NAM model to kind of see in the short distance future how these storms could possibly play out. So here is the high resolution model. And notice how that low pressure, okay, that low pressure, the storms that are close to that low pressure, the central area of low pressure, you can really get the storms to really rotate and start turning and produce some damage. Anywhere in that these yellow cells here, all in this area. And look at the pressure, 999 millibars. So pretty low pressures here could really also enhance that surface wind as well as the jet stream there. Okay, and here it is by 7 o'clock, right? Yeah, 7 o'clock Monday morning here. Here's your low pressure. There's kind of like your backside, and here's your band of severe weather out ahead of that low pressure system, and it can still be severe actually, and then eventually it drops down through northern Florida as we head through the mid-morning and afternoon on Monday. Pushes through a place like Orlando. Okay, the line, and this happened with the last one too. The line can still be, it will be broken up, but still Florida could see a decent threat on Monday afternoon. So take a look at the wind shear, the bulk shear here. This is really going to enhance your tornado threat, your damaging wind threat. This is Monday, or actually Sunday, at 10 o'clock in the evening, and watch that moves all to the east. That red and even that yellow region right there. That's where you're really going to have a lot of your tornado threats with the rotating storms, and as well as the excessive damaging wind threat, and that really carries into the Carolinas as we head through tomorrow morning. All right, so let's real quick go to the actual radar. I'm actually going to close out of the app and load it up again so you guys, because I'm not sure if it updates automatically or not. There we go. So here we're going to go through some of the areas that are under warnings, all these red areas are not tornado warnings. Okay, I kind of thought that when I first got this app a long time ago, but all these red spots are river flood warnings, still need to be taken seriously because we've just had so much rain. Like this river right here, Mississippi River near Greenville, we are over like almost 3.5 feet above flood stage. So some flooding can start occurring or is already occurring there. I believe we did have a tornado warning at one point, but here is a flash flood warning. Okay, and this is for the Ouachita Parish in north central Louisiana. And Doppler radar has indicated, okay, thunderstorms producing heavy rain near Monroe, Louisiana. 1 to 3 inches of rain has already fallen, and any additional rain can really cause some problems. And trust me, the last thing we need in any part of this region really is rain. All right, as we continue our coverage here, let's actually head towards the east a little bit, towards actually downtown Jackson. I believe that is Jackson. Yeah, we have a severe thunderstorm warning. Okay, for Hinds County and southwestern Madison County and central Mississippi. Okay, we have a thunderstorm cluster that is moving east at 40 miles an hour. Okay, so if it was moving a lot faster, we could potentially have more of a damaging wind threat, but we can still see winds in excess of 60 miles an hour and hail the size of nickels. So just slightly bigger than a penny. And from that same cluster, we actually have a little cluster. If you look at the end of the radar loop right here, that really started firing up here. And that's the severe warning to the south here. Again, this cell is moving a little bit faster, 45 miles an hour to the south here, so this warning. We can still have winds in excess 60-65 miles an hour, roof damage, siding damage, tree damage. This is moving near Red Lake, southern Hinds County, so again, just to the south of where Jackson is, but still, this is a big line of thunderstorms. That almost has like a hook echo to it, like a bow. Looks like a bow, and it's kind of pushing through Jackson right now. Let's head off towards the east before we head to Texas. Let's actually head off towards the east here. Here is Alabama, okay, and we had really a cluster that kind of formed. We had that moisture really rise up from the south, and there is a severe weather cluster that could hit in the counties of northern Choctaw County in southwestern Alabama. Okay, this group of thunderstorms is fairly large, and it's moving at northeast at 40 miles an hour, and that is fast, but I've seen thunderstorm clusters move a lot faster. Now, while that may lower the damaging wind threat, and we can still have a big damaging wind threat, that's going to enhance the flash flood threat, okay, because it's moving a little bit slower than some of the other storms are moving. And this is radar indicated here. We're expecting wind damage to, again, roof, siding, and trees, and some hail damage as well. But hail could be a little bit bigger in this cell, maybe quarter-sized hail. And take a look at this huge line of storms pushing from the south. You got to remember, I mean, we are starting to form these severe thunderstorms, but the threat is overnight. I mean, some of this was actually here this morning, and we have a serious flood threat here. Okay, let me actually zoom out. This is a serious flood threat for central Alabama. You can I'll give you kind of time to read the counties, but again, Chilton County, southern Shelby County, Perry County, Bibb County, Coosa County, in this aerial flood warning right here. Okay, this one for Alexander City. We'll talk about that next. So these thunderstorms in the past several hours have led to a lot of rainfall. Okay, totals of up to 5 inches in some areas already. Okay, so we don't need any more rainfall, and there's a lot of reds on the radar. This cluster is looking very serious, and that severe warning I just talked about earlier, that's also going to push through the same area. That's another flash flood warning, in addition to the band that's affecting you right now. Okay, so again, this needs to be taken very seriously, and let's go to Alexander City now. And 3 inches of rain has fallen over the past 6 hours, and again, we do not need any more. We do not need any more. Like, whether it's Alabama or the entire region, we just don't need the rainfall at all. And before we head back towards the west, towards Texas, let's take a look real quick here. And Georgia, actually, southern Georgia, if we zoom in pretty close, this is a damaging thunderstorm cluster. Luckily, it's a little bit small in size, but it can still cause some localized extreme damage here. Okay, severe thunderstorm warning. I saw a tornado warning somewhere in Mississippi and Alabama, but I believe they have diminished. And this is also moving east at 40 miles an hour. But here's the thing. Once that piece moves off to the east here, so watch this piece move off to the east. We still got all these storms to deal with back there. So it's going to be the same areas getting hit by severe weather over and over again all throughout the day. Let's head back towards Texas-Louisiana borderline, because that's where we are also seeing some severe weather. All right, so here is Texas, and we actually have 3 severe thunderstorm warnings right on the Texas-Louisiana border. This is Texarkana's up there, so this is well south of Texarkana. Let's zoom in. Let's talk about the easternmost warning first. Okay, this one is moving east at 35 miles an hour, and that has to deal with these clusters of storms that are moving through right here, moving east at 45 miles per hour, and again, 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-sized hail are some of the threats that are going to be with a lot of these severe thunderstorm warnings here. Off to the west, this cluster of thunderstorms is moving east at 45 miles an hour. Again, 60-mile-an-hour winds, quarter-sized hail, and it's from this line right here. So it's pretty much from the same cluster of storms. So let's go to this warning, and this is moving east at 45, but this can actually produce winds of 70 miles an hour. And that shows me that this could be weakening a little bit because this eastern warning here, yeah, okay, so the western warning just got dropped. Okay, so now it's this one. Yeah, so it's a storm line from producing 70, well, at least the warning dropped it from 70 to 60, which is good, but this is still a very dangerous looking storm, and I would not mess with it if I were you. So that's the live radar. Okay, we have other radar sources that I'll be looking at as well, but that is the radar imagery for now. There's a live coverage there. And again, this is still live coverage. Look at the Cape here, according to the high-resolution model. You gotta remember, there's a sharp cutoff in the Cape here. So it's pretty much gonna be south of that black line right there. And you can see not much energy is really getting lifted up. We kind of had that energy today. I think all the energy is gonna be moving out because now the thunderstorms are saying, thank you, energy, out of my way. It's my turn to come in. Thank you for all your help and feeding me. It's like a baby bird getting ready to leave the nest. You know, the thunderstorms are saying, you know what, energy, I think I'm ready. And they start moving out. But look at the supercell composite numbers here, and especially back towards Louisiana. At least this was at 2 o'clock here. Actually, let's move forward. Here we go, 3 o'clock, and we had a supercell composites that are in the purple for Louisiana, Mississippi, and that means very high chance of supercells. In fact, we're talking about a 30, up past 30 out of 50. So we're talking about 65% chance of supercells plus in this region here. And that will eventually start moving out. Okay, and I don't really see that hitting the Carolinas. The high-resolution model is really keeping it too far to the south, in my opinion, these chances for supercells. But when you look at the significant tornado parameter, that's very different. Look at what we had at 2 o'clock. Okay, this was going up to 6.7, even higher than that. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm hovering right over the exact region. That is it right there. So significant tornado parameter, 7 out of 10 here. Okay, for significant, not just tornadoes, but significant tornadoes. They're going to be moving all throughout the southeast. And again, the threat's going to be a little bit more to the south. Okay, and that means the rain threat will be to the north. So we'll get to the rain as well. And then look at this. The significant tornado parameter just explodes once it gets into Florida. Watch this. Let's go forward in time. Boom. It really explodes once it gets to Florida, and then everything pushes in the form of a line or a broken up line down to the south and southeast towards Miami. Miami won't probably get hit as hard, but towards Miami, definitely. So look at the total precipitation here out of the storm according to the high resolution model. So again, they kind of put the severe weather is kind of happening down here. And again, the rainfalls, the heaviest rainfall is just to the north of that. So about 2 to 4, but plus. But like I said, we've had areas in Alabama that have had 5 inches already. So this could easily be under. But some areas could receive over 6 inches or 3 to 6 inches additional by the time this is all said and done. So a very dangerous event here. You can almost compare it to the last event that we had last Sunday on Easter Sunday. Okay, so here is the NAM model now. Look how intense that low is, 996 millibars of pressure. There's your clusters of thunderstorms, very heavy at times as well. Okay, and then everything scoots off into the Carolinas pretty quickly. You can see I'm going in loops of 3 hours here, so this is a pretty quick mover. But once it's to the Carolinas, while it's in the southeast, this thing will be moving pretty slow. And these thunderstorm complexes, they do mean business, especially in the, you can't forget the kind of atmosphere that they are in. Let me go briefly back to the high resolution model because I wanted to show the dew points. I forgot to show that real quick. We'll show that for the NAM as well. Look at these dew points. Dew points are actually, I think, a little bit higher than last time. I see a lot more 74, 75 on the map here. And notice up there in a place like Atlanta, though, we're not even at 50. So I think Atlanta, this will be south of you. Maybe the south or the southern metro could get a little bit, but Atlanta, this will be well to the south of you. And even the dew points in the 60s, okay, it's going to take a while. I mean, this is like 36 hours later, and we still got dew points that are still in the 60s along the coast. Which, I mean, that's probably going to be all the relief you will get, but still, this moisture is atmosphere fueled. I mean, moisture fueled. So here's a NAM again, and check this out. Look at this bulk shear. right in that red zone. That's where we can really see that damaging wind threat, that tornado threat. That's what bulk shear leads to: damaging winds and tornadoes. Here's the surface-based cape according to the NAM model. Really explodes over the Gulf of Mexico here, but like I said, you're not really going to see the cape explode all that much because we pretty much had it already. The energy is already in the atmosphere, and here it is: Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, right in that region, right there in that red zone, over 3,000 joules per kilogram. Some really intense surface-based capes. Look at the supercell composite. Look at that right there. Moving from Louisiana, Mississippi over into Mississippi, Alabama. That's not necessarily where the supercells are, but that's where you have the highest chance of seeing some supercells. Then eventually everything moves through Florida, the Carolinas, and on out of here. Again, here's a significant tornado parameter. Take a look at this. This is higher than the supercell composite. And the NAM really lights up the map here, right in that region. That's where the worst of it is. Right in Louisiana, Mississippi, and eventually we'll head through Alabama, but the chance of seeing it go down a little bit as it heads into Georgia, but still, anywhere in that dark red and purple shade, that is nowhere to mess around. You do not want to mess around with that. Significant tornado parameters will be high. Check it out when it hits the coast, because you've already had Gulf of Mexico moisture fueled into this. Now you're going to have the above average Atlantic moisture fueled into this, and some of the cold air that's kind of trying to rush its way in that drier air, and they just kind of collapsed or collide all three ways here right over Savannah. So Savannah can see a significant tornado threat according to the NAM model at 11 a.m. on Monday. And then everything is off the coast as we head through the day on Monday. All right, check this out. NAM rainfall totals possibly near 8-9 inches. Okay, in central Alabama, other than that, about 4 to 8 inches in a lot of spots. And this is a very high def looking map. Everything's like really shaded in, kind of weird. It's kind of very high def looking, very localized regions. But all like this whole region, the whole southeast region, at least 2 inches of rain, or at least 1 inch of rain. And like I said, even if it's an inch of rain in a short amount of time, that could still cause problems. You don't need 4 inches of rain to really cause a lot of trouble. Through the southeast, again, dew points 74, 75. I think they'll be at their highest point right here. That's when the dew points, that lavender, that 70-degree plus dew points, make their way further to the north. And eventually, everything is going to be crashing down once this storm system supposedly leaves. And notice, we're going to have a little couplet of 70-degree dew points make their way up into Savannah. And that's why, like I showed you in that radar loop at 11 a.m., we're going to have this, like I just showed you for Savannah. You're going to have to try the cold or the dry air try to come in from the north and west. You got your Atlantic moisture, you got your Gulf of Mexico moisture on that warm front. So Savannah could be a potential collision zone at 11 o'clock in the morning if the NAM model holds true. All right, so this is the radar loop here, and let me actually get a little reboot. I'm not sure if this automatically updates or not. And again, look at Louisiana here. The radar is just lit up. Texas, Louisiana. Okay, we had a brief tornado warning. That's not even on the loop anymore. But look at that brief area of purple. I want you to watch it right there. I mean, it pops up really briefly. And red, dark reds, and purples on the radar, the DBZ loop, is never a good sign. Never, ever a good sign. 1 hour rainfall totals. Okay, these storms are producing. Now, I'm not saying they're going to last a full hour, but they're producing upwards of 1.5 to 2 inches of rain every hour. So that is pretty impressive. Let's look at the storm total, actually, see how much rain we've had so far and all. And again, this is on top of the tornado threat. Look at all these yellow areas, widespread, 3 inches of rain already. 3 inches anywhere in that yellow zone. Even in the medium and dark greens, that's 2 to 3 inches of rain we've had already. So these areas have got hit really hard, and you really don't need any more. How about the storm total for Alabama here? I'm sure they've had a lot because those warnings. Look at this. Again, 3 to 4 inches of rain over Alabama so far in this storm system. So really, we do not need any of this at all. And again, here's your tornado watch. Here's your flash flood watch. You kind of overlap each other. Excuse me. From Texas to Georgia, as well as parts of South Carolina. It will eventually hit North Carolina. And look at the river flood risk. And the red means it's already occurring across Louisiana, Mississippi. But that yellow area is where it's possible because of the severe weather threat. Louisiana, yes, is already having it, but eastern Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, in that possible threat, according to NOAA. All right, let's take a look at the radar and see if anything is updated here. Let's close out the app, reopen it again. And I don't believe they have issued any tornado warnings yet, but I would not be surprised if one does appear soon, especially with that line that was talking about with 70-mile-an-hour winds issued with that severe thunderstorm warning. Okay, so I believe the tornado warnings would be shaded in a pink box because that's what I'm used to seeing. And there are no tornado warnings that I can see that are up right now. Let's see. Yeah, there is a river flood warning. Check that out here. And yeah. So at 9 a.m. Sunday, the stage was 7.1 feet. And flood stage is... Okay, that's a glitch. Yeah, something's wrong with that because it says it's at 7 feet, but the flood stage is 25, and it says rise to 26. Okay, so I think there might be a problem with that because if it was at 7 feet and the flood stage is 25, there wouldn't be a flood warning there. So, not sure. Maybe that's a mistake. But look towards Paris, Texas. Here we got another line developing behind all that main action. Because you can see this isn't just the occasional pop-up severe storm. You're gonna have all these, and this could be like rain-wrapped tornadoes. When we have the tornadoes, they could be rain-wrapped. Okay, meaning you're not gonna be able to see them as good, especially at night. That just makes it even worse. Okay, we're not even talking about nighttime yet. And when you're not seeing the severe weather, you're going to be seeing the excessive rainfall. And I think a lot of these northern areas are seeing more rainfall because you see a lot more flash flood warnings up to the north, and towards the south, that's where you see a lot of those severe thunderstorm warnings because you got a lot more of that warm air. But I want you to keep an eye because I've seen the energy get, as we saw in the models, get really ramped up. So watch these cells that come out of Florida into Georgia here. Okay, these cells are nothing to mess with because these kind of look like your daytime thunder boomers that we usually get during the summertime down in Florida in the peninsula. I haven't gotten anything yet, but we do have special marine warnings off the coast there in the northeastern Gulf of Mexico. Let's go up here. And again, marine warning. And we do have a lot of wind here. So, Pensacola, Florida, from 20 to 60 nautical miles here. And this looks like a wind gust of nearly 50 knots. So that's like at least 60 miles an hour wind gust. And off to the east as well, 50 knots. And behind that, also 50 knots. So even though this storm doesn't look all that good, you have to remember, even though there's no reds on the radar with tornadoes or severe thunderstorm warnings, remember the Gulf of Mexico is fuming. It's not boiling hot, but it's definitely way above average. So even though the severe threat might not be that high with this, Panama City can still see some heavy rain. And Panama City, matter of fact, let's zoom into you. You just saw some heavy rain, actually. We just had a line form and move out of Panama City. And look at this. As soon as, like I said, this line here wasn't that strong over the Gulf of Mexico, okay? So let's, yeah, you can see, wasn't that strong right here when it first formed. It was just greens and blues. And as soon as it came on shore to Panama City, it just exploded. And Panama City got wrecked. And there's your line now moving up towards Chattahoochee and Quincy near Tallahassee. We're starting to see a batch form down here. And Tallahassee just had another cell themselves. So even though I would not call this an isolated threat or even a scattered threat. This is pretty much a widespread threat, especially to the north, where you just have loads and loads of heavy rainfall. This is just expansive coverage. This is super widespread here. And I want to keep an eye off to the south and west. Okay, and I cannot even tell. I believe this is Texas right here, crossing into Louisiana. So much red's lighting up the radar. We just had some magenta here, and I think that's where our tornado warning was at first, and that's kind of weakened since. Okay, but natural forest here, it's getting really impacted here, and I believe that is, yes, it is Pistachi, I think that is pronounced, national forest. And take a look at this. We have a special marine warning for Galveston. Wind gusts 34 knots or greater. So tropical storm force winds of 40 miles an hour with some small hail. So the wind threat doesn't seem to be too much here, but it's only moving east at 30 knots, which is like 35 miles an hour. So this one's moving a little bit slower. So it's not going to have as much of a wind threat, but that's a very heavy rain moving right into the metro of Galveston here. Let me actually look on the radar imagery. Here, let me see if I can get a Galveston loop. Yeah, here we go, Galveston. So there it is. There's that cluster. It's kind of started to weaken a little bit. I don't see any severe thunderstorm warnings with it. We do have some special marine warnings in the orange boxes, some other storms, but it has since weakened. And let's take a look at the 1 hour rainfall here. Good news is I really haven't seen any tornado warnings yet, which is good, but we still have a long way to go. And you can see about an inch of rain in an hour, a little bit more than an inch of rain in an hour, and it's kind of, the loop kind of disappeared for some reason. So the rainfall is still pretty heavy, like I said, because it's moving so slow, or it's moving slower than other storms are. And where these individual storms, these batches have tracked, they produce over an inch of rain in their short existence over the region. So very heavy rain over Texas here. And let's take one last look at the radar imagery, and you got to remember, please stay safe, even if you have a severe thunderstorm warning, okay? Winds of 50, 60 miles an hour can still damage your house, and that is why you need to treat, like, even when I get a severe thunderstorm warnings once in a while sometimes, I almost treat it like a tornado warning, because they can instantly turn a tornado warning even when you're not watching, okay? And again, if you looked at my last severe weather coverage video, you'll be able to see how to enable those weather emergency alerts, those Amber alerts on your phone. On the that was on the last severe weather coverage video, so consider checking that out if you don't know how to enable your alerts to make sure you get government alerts when activity comes your way. This just looks very serious. This is astronomical. We could end up with areas could get severe weather like EF3, EF4 tornadoes. Some people can get a half a dozen inches of rain. Some people could get both if you're sadly really unlucky. I mean, this is going all the way up through off the coast of North Carolina. We're even seeing a few thunder boomers there firing just west of Morehead City, North Carolina, and Wilmington, North Carolina just had some as well. So again, stay safe, stay vigilant. Like if you have like a weather radio, or if you want to tune in on your television, definitely ways to really chime in to see what's going on, because you really need to watch these severe weathers, because the dew points are so high. We have so much energy in the atmosphere. It's like not even funny. So, and look near Paris. We just had magentas on the radar. That's the highest you can get right there, just moving through Paris. That was an astronomical, like, you rarely ever see magentas on the radar. Like, it never happens. And we have another one forming right here, which is why there's a severe warning. Keep an eye on that cluster of storms. They're going to be severe warned in a second. That is actually northwest of Texarkana. And here's that severe warning for Paris again. Moving east at 50 miles an hour. So you're really going to see more serious winds right here. Winds of 70 miles an hour are possible because this storm system is moving particularly fast. So thank you for watching. Please stay safe. Stay tuned to the Weather Channel, to AccuWeather, or to keep an eye on the radar to make sure you stay safe. And again, if you want to know how to enable those alerts, just all you have to do is just go to my channel. It was on the last severe weather coverage video that I did. So it was the last one. So you go to channel here, okay, and you go down. It was this video right here before my hurricane season video. So right there, that's where I talked about how to enable those severe weather alerts if you need it. So thank you. Stay safe. I am the Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time. And hopefully I will be doing a video because there is a potential for severe weather again in the middle of next week. So I'll be keeping an eye on that for you guys as well. Thank you for watching. I am the Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time.